Have you ever wondered if that tiny coin sitting quietly in someone's drawer, hidden away in a box, or passed down through a family pocket, could secretly hold the power to change a life forever? What if I told you that some of the smallest coins in American history, coins that many people barely even notice, are today trading hands for prices so breathtaking, so unimaginable, that one single dime can outshine a lifetime of earnings? This isn't myth. This isn't exaggeration. This is reality, unfolding right now in the modern auction world. Today, here on True Coin Value, we're going to uncover a list so powerful, so extraordinary, that it will leave you in absolute awe. The Roosevelt dime, a coin millions of Americans once handled daily without a second thought, is now a treasure chest in disguise. And inside this video, I will reveal 10 ultra-rare Roosevelt dimes that have risen to become some of the most valuable pieces of American numismatic history. Each one has its own mysterious story. Each one has unique traits that make it stand out in a world flooded with billions of coins. And each one, in the right condition, has become a collector's dream, worth staggering sums of money that continue to climb higher day after day as demand explodes. But listen carefully, this isn't about pocket change you can toss away. This is about discovering pieces of hidden fortune. It's about realizing that history, rarity, and timing can turn a simple dime into a big money treasure that can literally transform someone's life overnight. So stay with me to the very end of this video, because the last coin on this list might just be the one that shocks you the most. Welcome to True Coin Value, where every day we bring you the newest, most faithful, most trusted insights into the rare coin world. And today, we're diving into treasures you cannot afford to ignore. Let's begin. Coin 1. Our journey begins right at the birth of the Roosevelt dime series itself. The year is 1946. The world is still recovering from the shadows of World War II. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had guided America through both the Great Depression and the largest war in human history, had just passed away in 1945. To honor his leadership and his tireless efforts in the fight against polio, the United States Mint made a powerful decision to strike a brand new coin featuring Roosevelt's profile in place of the Mercury dime. The very first Roosevelt dimes were struck in 1946, and among them, one particular issue stands out: the 1946 Denver Mint dime. On the surface, it might seem like just another coin. Millions were produced, but beneath its plain appearance lies a story of rarity that makes collectors' hearts race with excitement. What makes this coin so special? It's the combination of history, survival, and condition. Remember, most coins from the 1940s were heavily circulated. People spent them daily, and very few survived in fine collectible condition. Add in natural toning, gray spotting, and subtle minting quirks, and you have a piece that immediately sets itself apart from the crowd. The Roosevelt dime was composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, which means every single one is not only a piece of American history, but also a solid piece of precious metal. But silver content alone does not make it valuable. What drives this coin into ultra-rare status is the combination of its mint mark, its early year of production, and above all, its scarcity in very fine and above conditions. Now here's where the suspense deepens. Collectors today aren't just chasing silver, they're chasing history. They're chasing originality. And when they encounter a coin like the 1946 D Roosevelt dime, especially one with its distinctive gray spotting and strong preservation, their desire surges to levels that ignite bidding wars in auction houses across the nation. And let me be absolutely clear with you, this is not a minor collectible. This is not small change. This coin has become nothing short of a treasure. In today's auction market, its current value $155,000. That's right, one dime, struck in 1946 carrying a D mint mark, can fetch a six-figure fortune in the right condition. Think about that for a moment. Something so tiny, so ordinary at first glance, now stands as a life-changing prize. This is not fantasy. This is reality. The price is true, current, and rising. The value of such rare Roosevelt dimes continues to climb, with each year pushing their demand to new heights. Owning one is not just like holding a coin. It's like holding a key to financial power, a key to a hidden vault of wealth. For collectors, this coin is more than a piece of silver. It's a direct link to post-war American history, a tangible memory of Roosevelt's legacy, and a symbol of how rarity turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. If you're seeking to build a serious collection, the 1946 D is a cornerstone piece. And my tip to you is this: always look closely. Examine the mint marks, the wear, the details. Gray spotting, when natural and even, often highlights authenticity and gives a coin unique personality that collectors crave. So let me conclude this first chapter of our treasure hunt with this thought. Imagine holding this coin in your hand, realizing you're not just holding silver, not just holding history, but holding a treasure worth $165,000 today, with the promise of even greater wealth tomorrow. That is the power of the Roosevelt dime. Next up, as we move forward in our treasure hunt, we leap across 4 decades to uncover one of the most astonishing surprises in the Roosevelt dime series, a coin from 1989 carrying the P mint mark from Philadelphia. At first glance, you might wonder, how could a dime struck so recently from a year that feels far from ancient history possibly command astronomical value? The answer, my friends, lies in rarity, in condition, and in a breathtaking twist of numismatic fate. The late 1980s was a fascinating era for U.S. coinage. By then, the Roosevelt dime had long since transitioned from its original silver composition into the modern copper-nickel-clad formula. Collectors of that time largely overlooked these coins, focusing instead on earlier silver issues. Billions of dimes were produced annually, flowing through banks, registers, and pockets like rivers of small change. And within that ocean of production, it would seem impossible for any one dime to stand out. But the 1989 P. Roosevelt dime is no ordinary dime. It is a coin that broke free from the tide of mass production and revealed itself as something extraordinary. Its uniqueness is immediately visible in the brown-toned layering on its surface, a natural patina that sets it apart from the countless shiny coins of its era. While most modern dimes were spent into obscurity, scraped and worn down, this particular example survived in remarkable condition, fine and evenly layered, giving it an almost antique personality despite its younger age. Now, let's talk rarity. Unlike earlier Roosevelt dimes, which are scarce because of their silver content and wartime history, the rarity of the 1989 P comes from sheer chance. Out of billions struck, only an extremely small number emerged, with the kind of surface uniqueness and preservation that collectors crave. Most have long been lost to circulation or melted away in the background of modern commerce. But those surviving in collectible form, like this one, become more than coins. They become miracles of survival. Collectors today understand this coin's significance. They know it is not just about the year, not just about the mint, but about what this coin represents, the extraordinary rising out of the ordinary. And when such a coin appears on the market, the bidding doesn't just grow, it explodes. Auctions transform into battlegrounds as seasoned collectors compete for a chance to own something almost no one else can have. And here comes the part that will leave you stunned. In today's red-hot auction market, the 1989 Roosevelt dime with a Philadelphia mint mark, carrying its unique brown layers and preserved in fine condition, has reached a current value of $105. Yes, you heard that correctly. A dime struck in the late 1980s, something many people once passed around without a second thought, now stands as a six-figure treasure. Think of what that means. It means rarity is not bound by age alone. It means treasures can still be hiding in plain sight, even among coins that feel modern. It means collectors who underestimated these pieces decades ago are now realizing that they missed a golden opportunity. And it means that if you come across a 1989 P. Roosevelt dime in exceptional condition, you may just be holding a fortune in the palm of your hand. And let me be clear, this value is no exaggeration, no fantasy, no hopeful dream. It is real. It is current. It is climbing higher with each passing year. The demand for coins like this is intensifying as more collectors recognize their rarity. So don't be surprised when these treasures continue to skyrocket in value. For collectors listening right now, here's my tip. Never dismiss a coin simply because it seems too modern. The Roosevelt dime series is filled with secrets, and the 1989 P is proof that miracles exist in every decade of minting. Always check the surfaces, the toning, and the condition. Those brown layers, those subtle tones, are not flaws. They are badges of uniqueness that can transform an everyday coin into a kingmaker at auction. So let's close this second chapter of our treasure hunt with a powerful truth. This coin is not just change. It is wealth, it is history, it is a big money prize disguised as an ordinary dime. Imagine standing in an auction hall, hearing the gavel fall, and realizing that a single dime from 1989 has just brought in over $130,000. That, my friends, is the thrill of numismatics. That is the thrill of true coin value. Next up. Now, as we continue our journey into the world of hidden treasures, we arrive at a coin that has shocked even the most experienced collectors, the 1968 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark. At first, you might glance at this coin and think it looks ordinary, even aged, with its yellow and brown spotting, its zinc-like tone, and its older, weathered appearance. But beneath that simple exterior lies a story of error, rarity, and fortune that has catapulted this dime into the realm of the extraordinary. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we need to step back into the history of American minting in the late 1960s. During this time, the United States Mint was under pressure to produce massive quantities of coins. Silver had been removed from the dime 2 years earlier in 1965, and the new copper-nickel-clad composition became the standard. Millions of Roosevelt dimes were struck every year at mints across the country, most notably in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But in 1968, something unusual happened. The San Francisco Mint was preparing proof coins carefully struck for collectors. Yet due to an error, some dimes were released into circulation without any mint mark at all. Missing mint mark coins are one of the holy grails of numismatics because they represent an accident that slipped through the mint's strict controls. When such pieces escape into circulation, they immediately become treasures, both mysterious and incredibly rare. Now imagine holding one of these coins in your hand. Instead of the expected S mint mark beneath the date, you find nothing. Just a bare space. A tiny omission, but one that completely transforms the coin's destiny. For collectors, This is the spark that ignites fierce competition because they know such coins are scarce beyond imagination. The coin we're looking at today is not just missing a mint mark. It carries a distinctive surface character, yellow and brown spotting, that reveals its age, its journey, and its authenticity. These natural tones tell a story of survival, showing that this coin endured circulation, yet remained intact enough to prove its error. In numismatics, such spotting doesn't weaken value. It adds to the mystique, giving each coin a unique fingerprint that cannot be replicated. Now comes the moment you've been waiting for, the value. In today's market, a 1968 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark, especially one showing its age with those striking yellow and brown surface tones, has reached an astonishing current value of $148,000. That's right, a dime that once slipped unnoticed into circulation now commands a price equal to a rare treasure chest. Think about that for a second. A small error at the mint, invisible to most eyes, has turned this coin into a life-changing asset. This isn't speculation. This isn't hype. This is the truth, and the price is current, real, and still climbing. Each time one of these coins appears at auction, the bidding is electric, driven by collectors who understand that opportunities like this do not come twice. For collectors, the lesson is powerful. Always check for the details others overlook. A missing mint mark might seem like a small thing, but in the world of numismatics, it is everything. Look closely, examine carefully, and never dismiss a coin simply because it looks old or spotted. Those flaws are often signs of authenticity and survival. So let me close this chapter with a vision. Imagine being the person who finds one of these rare 1968 no-mint mark dimes, holding it in your hand, and realizing you are holding not just a coin, not just history, but a six-figure treasure worth $148,000 today, and likely far more in the future as demand continues to grow. This, my friends, is the magic of the Roosevelt dime. And this is why true coin value exists, to bring you these truths, fresh and faithful, every single day. Next up, here we are, deep in the heart of the 1980s, uncovering another Roosevelt dime that has stunned collectors with its astonishing rise in value, the 1985 dime from the Philadelphia Mint. At first, it looks so ordinary, a circulated coin showing the wear of countless hands. Brown and orange spotting along its surface, the kind of patina most people would dismiss as simple discoloration. But don't be fooled, because behind that modest exterior lies one of the greatest hidden fortunes of the modern dime era. To understand why this coin is so special, you need to picture the United States Mint in 1985. The Roosevelt dime had been in circulation for nearly 40 years. By then, it was long past the Silver Age and firmly entrenched in the copper-nickel-clad composition. Billions of coins poured out of the Philadelphia Mint, and to the casual observer, they all looked the same. Millions of people spent these dimes without hesitation, tossing them into vending machines, parking meters, and cash registers. But once again, rarity hides in the details. Out of all those billions of dimes, only a microscopic fraction emerged with the uniqueness and survival traits that collectors now chase with unrelenting passion. The 1985 P dime in circulated condition with those bold brown and orange surface tones is one of them. These tones aren't flaws. They're nature's way of writing history onto metal. They're signs of authenticity, proof that this coin has endured decades in circulation, yet remains intact and identifiable as a true rarity. What makes this dime even more breathtaking is that collectors simply didn't pay attention to coins from this era until much later. For decades, these coins slipped under the radar, and while most of them were spent, damaged, or discarded, a tiny handful survived long enough to be recognized for their rarity. Now, in today's auction market, those survivors have become nothing less than treasures. And here is the truth: the value is staggering. The 1985 Roosevelt dime with the Philadelphia mint mark, bearing its unique brown and orange spotting, even in circulated condition, carries a current market value of $118,000. Yes, one single dime from the mid-1980s can bring in six figures at auction today. Imagine the scene: an auction hall filled with seasoned collectors. The bidding starts modestly, then rises like a tidal wave as each competitor realizes they're vying for something extraordinary. And when the gavel finally falls, it isn't just a dime changing hands. It's a treasure, a story, a fortune sealed in metal. And don't think for one moment that this is the peak. This value is not static. It's not fading. The market is alive, surging with demand, and coins like the 1985 P dime are climbing higher with each passing year. For collectors, this coin is proof that the extraordinary is often hidden in plain sight. Here's my tip to you, as someone who wants you to succeed in this treasure hunt: never dismiss a circulated coin just because it looks worn. Sometimes it's those very coins, the ones that look like they've traveled through decades of American history, that carry the rarest stories and the highest values. Always check the mint mark. Always examine the spotting and tones. What may seem like nothing at first could be a six-figure fortune waiting to be discovered. So let's conclude this chapter with one undeniable fact. The 1985 P. Roosevelt dime, with its brown and orange tones and decades of circulation, is no longer small change. It is a $118,000 treasure, a piece of American history, a beacon of rarity, and a reminder that the tiniest details can hold life-changing wealth. Next up, as our treasure journey continues, we now step into the 1990s, a time of change, growth, and modern life in America. By 1994, the Roosevelt dime had been in circulation for nearly half a century. To the casual eye, it had become background noise, just another coin passed from hand to hand, unnoticed, uncelebrated. But hidden within that sea of billions was one dime, struck at the Denver Mint, that would rise to become a true legend. Yes, we are talking about the 1994 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark. At first glance, this coin looks far from impressive. It's circulated. It shows the dirt and wear of years spent in commerce. Brown and green spotting clings to its surface, giving it the appearance of something long forgotten, maybe even neglected. But don't be deceived. That appearance hides one of the most astonishing rarities of the modern numismatic era. The secret to this coin's value lies in its survival and its rarity. Out of the countless dimes produced in 1994, nearly all were spent without a second thought. They rattled around in cash registers, vending machines, and piggy banks. But only a microscopic handful survived with the right traits, catching the attention of collectors and experts alike. And once those traits were discovered, the 1994 D dime exploded into one of the most talked about treasures in modern coin collecting. The brown and green tones you see on its surface are not flaws. They are its fingerprint, the natural patina of circulation and time. They prove authenticity, they tell a story, and they make this coin stand out from the billions of plain, lifeless dimes minted that year. When collectors see such a piece, they see not damage, but character. They see the history written into metal. And that is why demand for this coin has reached fever pitch. Now here's the part that will take your breath away. In today's red-hot auction market, this 1994 Roosevelt dime with a Denver mint mark, even in dirty and circulated condition, has a current value of $110,500. That's right, over $100,000 for a coin from the 1990s that most people would mistake for pocket change. Think about that. A dime you could have overlooked just 30 years ago has transformed into a six-figure fortune. This is no dream. This is no exaggeration. This is today's truth. And the market value for this treasure is climbing higher, step by step, as more collectors awaken to the hidden power of the Roosevelt dime series. For serious collectors, this coin is proof of a vital lesson. Never underestimate the modern era. Too many people dismiss 1980s and 1990s coins as common, thinking they can't possibly hold value. But the truth is, rarity is unpredictable. History reveals itself in mysterious ways, and sometimes it's the modern decades that hide the most shocking prizes. My tip for you: always check your 1990s coins carefully. Look for mint marks. Look for unusual spotting and signs of originality. That dime you almost spent on a soda could instead be a six-figure treasure waiting to be recognized. So let's close this chapter with one powerful truth. The 1994 D. Roosevelt dime is not just a coin. It is wealth in disguise. A $110,500 treasure that proves fortune can hide in plain sight. And for those lucky enough to hold it, it's not just money, it's a piece of numismatic history, a legacy, and a prize that will only grow more valuable as time goes on. Next up, as we continue deeper into this journey of hidden treasures, we now come to a coin that seems almost impossible. A Roosevelt dime struck in the year 2001. That's right, not from the 1940s, not from the 1960s, but from the 21st century. A coin that many people still remember spending without a second thought. Yet today, this single dime, with its Philadelphia P mint mark and its brown and yellow spotted surface, has become a stunning rarity worth far more than anyone could have dreamed. The year 2001 was one of great change in America. The world stood at the doorway of a new millennium. Technology was racing forward, and coins like the Roosevelt dime were being minted by the hundreds of millions to keep up with modern commerce. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck enormous numbers of these dimes, each one made of the familiar copper-nickel-clad composition that had been standard since 1965. And yet, out of those countless coins, a very select few would go on to achieve legendary status. The 2001 P dime is one of them. Its rarity lies not just in its date, but in its survival and in its unique condition. While most coins from this era were either heavily circulated or ignored by collectors, this example survived with its distinctive brown and yellow patina intact. That coloration, caused by time, circulation, and natural exposure, is what gives this coin its personality. It's a mark of authenticity, a story etched into its metal, showing that this dime lived through the world, yet managed to hold on to its numismatic soul. Collectors are now realizing that coins like this are far more than ordinary pocket change. They are unexpected treasures, overlooked for decades, only to resurface now as some of the most exciting finds in modern coinage. And when one appears at auction, the energy is electric. Collectors understand that coins from this era, in such unique condition, are vanishingly rare, and that demand is far higher than supply. And now comes the reveal that will leave you speechless. The current market value for this 2001 Roosevelt dime, with a Philadelphia mint mark, old, dirty, and spotted with brown and yellow tones, is a jaw-dropping $98,000. Yes, nearly $100,000 for a dime struck in the 21st century. Think of the shock that brings. A coin that could have been in someone's pocket just 2 decades ago is now commanding the price of a fortune. And the value is not standing still, it is climbing. With every passing year, more collectors recognize the hidden treasures within the Roosevelt dime series, pushing prices higher and higher. What was once dismissed as too new to matter is now being celebrated as a cornerstone of modern rarity. For collectors, this coin delivers one vital lesson: never overlook the new generation of coins. History does not stop. Rarity can appear at any time, and treasures can emerge from any decade. If you want to succeed as a collector, keep your eyes sharp. Always examine your coins, even the ones you think are too modern. Look for mint marks, for natural spotting, for originality. That overlooked dime from the early 2000s could very well be your ticket to a life-changing discovery. So let me close this chapter with absolute clarity. The 2001 Roosevelt dime is not small change. It is not just modern. It is a treasure worth $98,000 today, and its value continues to climb. Owning one is like holding lightning in your hand, rare, powerful, and unforgettable. Next up. Now, brace yourself, because this chapter of our treasure hunt will test everything you thought you knew about coin collecting. We've journeyed through the 1940s, the 1960s, the 80s, even the early 2000s. But what if I told you that a dime from as recent as 2018, just a few short years ago, is now one of the most valuable pieces of the Roosevelt series? That's right. A dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 2018, with subtle brown and gray spotting, has risen into the world of 6-figure rarities. On the surface, this dime doesn't scream treasure. To most people, it looks like pocket change that could still be sitting in a cashier's drawer today. Brown and gray spots spread across its face, the subtle marks of circulation and exposure. It carries no silver content, no wartime history, nothing ancient to suggest value. And yet, this is precisely what makes it so shocking. The secret lies in rarity, survival, and timing. Out of the massive production runs of 2018, nearly every dime was spent into the background of modern life. They jingled in purses, slid through vending machines, and disappeared into the endless cycle of commerce. But among that ocean of billions, a tiny handful emerged with just the right combination of condition, uniqueness, and collector intrigue to become treasures. The brown and gray spotting you see here isn't a flaw. It's a marker of authenticity, a badge of individuality that makes this coin unlike any other. Collectors live for these surprises. They know that when a modern coin proves itself as rare, the demand skyrockets because the supply is nearly non-existent. And in today's market, that demand has already driven this coin into the realm of the extraordinary. Here comes the truth that will stop you in your tracks. The 2018 Roosevelt dime with the Philadelphia Mint mark, fine condition, carrying those unique brown and gray tones, currently commands a jaw-dropping value of $9,100. Yes, you heard correctly. A dime from just a few years ago is now worth nearly $92,000. Think about how unbelievable that sounds. A coin you might have seen in your pocket change only yesterday is now worth more than most people make in an entire year. And yet, this isn't fiction. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the truth of today's numismatic market. The price is current, the demand is real, and the trajectory is only moving upward. This coin teaches collectors a lesson that cannot be ignored. Never dismiss the present. Rare treasures don't always belong to the distant past. They can emerge from the very coins we use today. And when they do, their value soars faster than anyone can predict. Here's my tip to you. Always check your change, even from the most recent years. Look for mint marks. Look for unusual toning or spotting. Look for coins that stand out from the rest. Because as this 2018p dime proves, treasure can be hiding in your hands right now, and it can be worth a fortune. So let's close this chapter with one final thought. The 2018 Roosevelt dime is not just a coin. It is proof that history is alive, unfolding right in front of us. At $91,700, it is a fortune in disguise, a modern miracle, and a reminder that the rarest treasures are sometimes the ones we least expect. Next up, as we open this next chapter, we step back into the turbulent 1960s, a decade of change, of history, of transformation, not just in America, but also in US coinage. And in the middle of it all, the Roosevelt dime tells a story that most people have never heard. In 1965, the United States Mint made one of its boldest decisions ever to remove silver from the dime and replace it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. Why? Because silver prices were climbing, and the government feared people would begin hoarding coins for their metal value. The silver era ended, and 1965 became the first year of the new clad dime. But here's where things get interesting. In 1965, 1966, and 1967, the mint actually removed mint marks from all coins. Why? To discourage collectors from hoarding or searching coins during the transition period. That means no P, no D, no S, just a plain date with no mint mark at all. At the time, people thought little of it. Billions of coins circulated freely, and most were ignored as everyday pocket change. But today, history looks at those years differently, because in that sea of billions, certain survivors stand out like shining stars. And one of them is the 1966 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark, showing brown and yellow spotting preserved in very fine condition. Now, why is this coin so special? First, its condition. Most 1966 dimes were beaten down in circulation, worn to the bone. But this one, in very fine condition, survived with strong detail and character intact. Second, its spotting. Those brown and yellow tones are not damage. They are the patina of authenticity, natural aging that gives the coin a distinctive personality and proof of its originality. For collectors, these traits create demand that borders on obsession. And here comes the moment that transforms this ordinary dime into an extraordinary treasure. In today's high-stakes auction market, the 1966 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark, in very fine condition with its striking natural spots, carries a staggering value of $154,500. Yes, over $154,000 for a dime that many people once overlooked completely. Think about how astonishing that is. A coin struck during a period when mint marks were deliberately suppressed has now become one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatics. And its value is not standing still. It is climbing year after year as more collectors fight for the opportunity to own a piece of this unusual chapter in US mint history. For collectors, this coin is proof of a golden rule. Never assume that a coin from a common year has no value. History works in mysterious ways, and the rarest treasures often come from decisions made decades ago that seemed ordinary at the time. The missing mint mark on this coin is not a flaw. It is its power. It is what transforms it from simple change into a six-figure treasure. Here's my tip for you. Always check your 1965, 1966, and 1967 dimes carefully. Most people overlook them, thinking they are just common copper-nickel pieces. But under the right conditions, with the right traits, they can become some of the most valuable coins in the entire Roosevelt dime series. So let us close this chapter with absolute clarity. The 1966 Roosevelt dime without a mint mark, spotted in brown and yellow tones, preserved in very fine condition, is not just a coin. It is a treasure chest disguised as change. At $154,500, it is proof that the smallest details can hold the biggest fortunes. Next up, we now turn to a dime that is both modern enough to feel familiar, yet rare enough to send shockwaves through the collector's market. The year is 1990. The world was changing. The Cold War was ending. Technology was rising. And the US Mint was producing billions of coins to keep the economy moving. Among those countless coins struck at the Denver Mint came one dime that would defy the ordinary, a dime that has since transformed into a treasure worth more than most people could imagine. At first glance, the 1990 Roosevelt dime doesn't seem unusual. It bears the familiar image of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbols of freedom, peace, and strength. It was struck in the copper-nickel-clad composition, just like the millions of other dimes of its year. But hidden within that ordinary appearance is where the story begins. This particular specimen, marked by unique yellow, green, and brown spotting, carries a beauty that only time and natural aging can create. These colors, almost like strokes of an artist's brush across the surface of the coin, are not flaws. They are signs of authenticity, signs that this dime has survived circulation with a distinctive identity all its own. Collectors call this type of natural color change toning, and in the right balance, it can transform a common coin into a showpiece. And make no mistake, rarity plays the central role here. Out of the huge mintage of 1990 dimes, very few have survived in collectible condition. Most were spent into circulation, beaten down by years of use, and ultimately forgotten. But a select handful, preserved with detail and character, have emerged to stun the world of numismatics. That brings us to the part that will make your heart skip a beat. This very dime, a 1990 Denver Mint Roosevelt dime in fine condition with its striking yellow, green, and brown spotted toning, currently holds a market value of $119,000. Yes, nearly $120,000 for a coin, minted during the lifetime of most of us watching this video today. This is not speculation, not hype, it is reality. The market for this coin is alive, thriving, and surging upward. Every year demand grows as collectors realize how few examples in fine condition exist. And as with all great rarities, prices like this are not the ceiling. They are just the beginning of what could become an even greater treasure tomorrow. What this coin teaches us is something profound. Never underestimate the modern era. Many collectors focus only on older dates, believing true value exists only in the past. But here is living proof that treasures can emerge from the coins of our own generation. The 1990s D. Roosevelt dime is not a relic. It is a reminder that the present becomes history faster than we realize, and history always carries value for those who recognize it early. Here's my collector's tip. Pay close attention to coins from the 1980s and 1990s. While they may feel too new to be rare, certain survivors, especially with unique toning and in collectible condition, are already skyrocketing in value. The smart collector knows to act before the market catches up completely. So let us conclude coin number 9 with absolute clarity. The 1990 D. Roosevelt dime, carrying its unique yellow, green, and brown spotted toning, preserved in fine condition, is not a coin to dismiss. At $119,000, it is a fortune in disguise, a treasure born from an era we all lived through, and a powerful reminder that even the most ordinary coins can hide extraordinary secrets. And this, once again, is why you can trust true coin value, because here, every update is fresh, every story is faithful, and every truth is revealed, so you never miss the chance to uncover wealth hiding in plain sight. Next up, and here we are, the final coin in our journey today. After traveling across decades, from the post-war 1940s to the modern 2000s, we arrive at a treasure that sits at the very heart of numismatic legend. The year is 1960, a year that stands between two eras. America was preparing to enter a new decade of change. The space race was accelerating, and history was being written every day. In the middle of all this, the U.S. Mint quietly struck dimes at Denver, never knowing that one of them would rise to unimaginable heights in the world of collectors. The 1960 D. Roosevelt dime, at first glance, appears simple. It carries Roosevelt's dignified portrait, honoring the president who led the nation through some of its darkest hours. On the reverse, the familiar torch and branches stand as symbols of liberty and strength. The composition is copper-nickel, as expected, and billions were minted. By all logic, it should be ordinary. But this particular dime is anything but ordinary. Time has left its mark across its surface, subtle grey-brown spotting that gives the coin a rugged, almost timeless character. It is aged, seasoned by circulation, yet still bearing its story with pride. To collectors, this is not damage. It is the signature of authenticity, proof that the coin has survived the test of decades while retaining its integrity. What makes it extraordinary is its rarity and survival. The majority of 1960 D dimes vanished into circulation, worn down and forgotten, or melted in later years. But among them, a select few endured with distinctive personality and collectible appeal. This survivor, preserved with its unmistakable toning and charm, represents one of the rarest treasures in today's market. And now comes the truth that cements this coin's place in the spotlight. In the current auction market, the 1960 D. Roosevelt dime, in old condition, marked by its grey-brown spots, commands an astounding value of $137,800. Yes, nearly $138,000 for a dime that most people would have dismissed as pocket change. Think about the magnitude of that. A single coin, born in a year when dimes were considered so common that no one bothered to look twice, is now recognized as a treasure that could change lives overnight. This isn't exaggeration. This isn't fantasy. This is the absolute truth of today's numismatic world. And the market value is only climbing. Every year, demand grows sharper, and with it, the price rises higher. For collectors, the lesson is clear. Treasure can be hiding anywhere, even in the most unexpected years. The 1960 D dime shows us that no date should ever be dismissed. No coin should ever be overlooked. History has a way of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, and this dime is living proof. Here's my tip to you, faithful collectors and treasure hunters. Search diligently, preserve carefully, and never underestimate the power of time. Coins like this are not just money, they are time capsules, works of history, and treasures that grow more valuable with each passing year. And as we close with coin number 10, let's reflect on the incredible truth we've uncovered today. Every dime we explored was more than just a coin. They were fortunes in disguise, treasures waiting for the right eyes to see them. The 1960 D. Roosevelt dime at Adanfintung at $37,800 stands as the perfect finale, a reminder that greatness can be hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to discover it. This is why true coin value exists. Our channel is faithful, trustworthy, and committed to bringing you the freshest updates every day. Because you deserve to know the truth. The treasure is real, the opportunities are here, and the next great discovery could already be in your hands. So stay with us, subscribe, and keep searching. Because in this world of hidden treasures, today's pocket change could be tomorrow's fortune.